Getting started with dSupportSuite Management Console, the first thing you want to do is go to Setup dSupportSuite Management Console at the top, enter in your dCloud self-hosted product key, FTP server address, username, and password. Also, you want to enter in your dSupportSuite registration name and product key. Then you'll do a save or a save and test to test your server configuration, and you should see a successful login message. You also want to download Eno Setup. This is going to actually create the custom installer file with dSupportSuite, and you want to download a working copy of dSupportSuite so that the management console has something to work with. Once you've done that, you really don't have to visit this page again. We can move on to Manage Templates, and the first thing you may want to do here, if you already have some logos pre-designed, is import those logos. Just select the default and it will import the logo. That way every new template you create will have this logo with it. You may actually want to work with dSupportSuite configuration in order to properly size those logos first. So you probably want to start with a new blank template first. We'll just call it a test template. And you can see it opens up a new template. It opens up the configuration for dSupportSuite with that template. Now this is something that we're going to get into at a later point in time. I'm going to save for another video. Once you have your template configured and everything is peachy, you need to create a client ID to copy that template to. I'm going to add Mr. Smith. Don't put any periods in there. And I will do a copy full template to client ID for editing. And you'll get the pop-up down here, test template loaded. Now for Mr. Smith, we'll go to Manage Installers, and you're going to want to test with your dSupportSuite configuration by installing it on a system. You're probably going to do that first after you've configured it, just to make sure that it's going to work in the way that you want it to work. In that case, just go ahead and compile an installer. This is Eno Setup working. Now you have an installer on your desktop, dSupportSuite setup _ Mr. Smith. What this is going to do, you'll just double click that to actually install dSupportSuite on a test system. Play around with it, make sure it is the way that you want it to be. I will say this for this page. Common options for all compiled installers. Well, actually, let me start at the top. You want your current version and local version to match. If not, you want to update your local version. This is the version of dSupportSuite that will be embedded inside the custom installer. The next thing you want under common options for all compiled installers, do you want to launch the app desktop shortcut? Do you want to create a configure in the shortcut in the start menu? Probably not. Or an uninstall shortcut, which is good. You can do a start menu URL. Do not enter http:// just do the www part. That will actually throw off the folder structure in your start menu. We'll go over the include additional files and third-party tools at another video. Below, we have the Create Custom Installer for Mr. Smith. Do you want to open the configuration page after installation? This is where you can enter in the client name, email address, and phone number. If you don't want to do that, if you already know that this is going to Mr. Smith and you know his details, you can enter them here and embed that client data inside the installer itself, so that instead of being prompted for this information, it's already there and the customer doesn't have to enter it. Next, you want to default to update the app on installation. That's always a good choice. Compile your installer with this button, as I've just shown you. And below that, you can create a generic installer and upload it to dCloud for use with D7 and dCloud Launcher. If you create a generic installer, it will always prompt you for an existing client ID, or you can remove the option and you will always be able to enter in a new client ID. This will also force the configuration page where you enter in the name, email, and phone number. So if you create a generic installer, that's good if you don't know yet who you're installing it for. But generally, I like to know who I'm installing it for and create custom installers for people. That about does it for getting started quickly with dSupportSuite Management Console. If you want to reconfigure an ID, a client ID, just double click him. That'll pull up your configuration, or you can click reconfigure here. Re-download config and rules. This is if you've already uploaded your configuration and rule set for Mr. Smith and you need to re-download it for some reason. You can save Mr. Smith's config as a new template if you make some modifications to it and you want to save that as a template. You can choose to upload the config and the rules or the config and rules together. You're always going to want to upload config and rules. Once you're done creating Mr. Smith, this will upload that configuration for Mr. Smith so that the next time dSupportSuite updates itself, it will download that configuration set from the cloud. So if you make changes to Mr. Smith's configuration after it's been installed, that's what you do. You upload the config and rules, and then Mr. Smith's copy of dSupportSuite will download when it's configured to. Download those rules and configuration set from the cloud and update it locally. Everything else here is self-explanatory, I hope, under this area. This is add client ID. You'll add a new client here, remove client ID. So if you're done with Mr. Smith for good, there is no Mr. Smith. He was just a test. He was just a figment of our imagination. You can remove him. Refresh client ID list will re-download your client ID list from the cloud. If something happens locally, you might want to do that. If something happens to your local install, or you're reinstalling dSupportSuite Management Console on a new computer, you're going to want to refresh that client ID list. Below that, we have dCloud self-hosted options. Basically, the main one you're going to want is commit dSupportSuite update. This will actually ask you, do you want to commit version 3.6.0 to dCloud self-hosted? Once you select yes, it will actually upload the latest or whatever version of dSupportSuite to the cloud for download by your customers. So for example, if I now have once I've done that deployed version 3.6.0. That's the version you've deployed to your cloud server, and that will be downloaded and updated to all of your clients out there. So if you have version 3.5.1 out there on your clients' machines, then you want to update them to version 3.6 the next time they are scheduled to update. You'll commit that DSS update, and then you'll see your deployed version as 3.6. So if all goes according to plan, the next time all of your clients are scheduled to update the software, they will update to the 3.6. Revert working version is actually so you can revert to a previous version of dSupportSuite, and that's something that we can cover in at another time. So I hope this has given you a quick jump start into getting started with dSupportSuite Management Console. Obviously there's a lot more to cover, and I will do so in future videos, but thanks for watching this one.